Donald Trump is now the first president in history to also be a convicted felon.
It's been a political witch hunt. It was done to damage my reputation so that I'd lose the election, and obviously that didn't work.
Em 10 de janeiro de 2025, Donald Trump, presidente eleito dos Estados Unidos, foi condenado por 34 crimes de falsificação de documentos relacionados ao pagamento de $130 mil à atriz pornô Stormy Daniels, visando silenciar um suposto caso extraconjugal.
Donald Trump is now the first president in history to also be a convicted felon. After being sentenced today in his hush money case, it comes the day after he attended Jimmy Carter's funeral, which there's some controversy over today because of the song Garth Brooks and wife Trisha Yearwood performed. Stephen Fabian has details on that.
After the funeral, Trump flew to Mar-a-Lago, and today he appeared virtually for his historic sentencing here in Manhattan in connection with the Stormy Daniels hush money conviction. Once again, he lashed out, calling the case a witch hunt and a despicable charade. As his attorney sat at his side, Trump listened to Judge Juan Marchant.
Never before has this court been presented with such a unique and remarkable set of circumstances. Indeed, it can be viewed fairly that this has been a truly extraordinary case.
The president-elect was given a chance to speak.
It was done to damage my reputation so that I'd lose the election, and obviously that didn't work.
Then the judge read the sentence.
This court has determined that the only lawful sentence that permits entry of a judgment of conviction without encroaching upon the highest office in the land is an unconditional discharge.
Unconditional discharge means the president-elect will not face fines, prison, or any other penalties.
President-elect Trump says he is going to appeal his conviction.
Well, US President-elect Donald Trump has avoided jail time over his hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. Live to Tim Lester in New York. Good morning, Tim. He's called the trial a political witch hunt.
Tegan, he has clearly upset by the outcome here today. If anyone else who was faced with 34 convictions on fraud in a New York court were to get no fine, as Donald Trump has, not even a speeding fine, they'd be delighted because they could have faced 4 years jail, and so could he. The circumstances, though, given his presidency, meaning that the judge made a very different decision here to impose no penalty. Notwithstanding that, Mr. Trump told the court via video link from his Florida home of his disgust.
It's been a political witch hunt. It was done to damage my reputation so that I'd lose the election, and obviously that didn't work.
The hush money case dates back to 2016 when Donald Trump then was preparing for the presidency with an election campaign, accused of paying $130,000 to an adult film actress to quash a story that she was claiming the two had had a sexual encounter. He's long denied that and has long said there was nothing wrong with making the payment that he made through his then fixer, Michael Cohen, though, of course, the trial has turned out quite differently for Donald Trump, and now in 10 days' time he will be inaugurated the first ever felon to be President of the United States. Tegan.
All right, thanks very much, Tim.
Just to confirm that in the past few moments, Donald Trump has been sentenced by Judge Juan Marchant at this New York City court to an unconditional discharge for the crime of falsifying business records, and that covers all 34 counts, James.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. The judge was saying the only lawful sentence without encroaching on the highest office of the land is an unconditional discharge for the crime of falsifying business records. It is therefore at this time I impose that sentence to cover all 34 counts. And he ends by saying, I wish you Godspeed for your second term in office. Thank you. And then Judge Juan Marchant was off the bench. And the court is adjourned. Parties filing out, as are reporters and the public. And that screen you're looking at there, Donald Trump sitting with his lawyer, Todd Blanche. He will go away to digest what has just taken place inside a New York courtroom. Another historic development in the career of Donald Trump and in the history of US politics and in the history of the presidency. He's a convicted felon, formally classified as such, and it is as a convicted felon he will come to where I'm standing, to the Capitol building, where he'll be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. The headline will be all about the convicted felon, because that is the element of history that will be here at the Capitol, that will be forever attached to Donald Trump. A dark chapter in the history of US politics that he desperately wanted to avoid. Has gone to pretty much every court that he could, including the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, to try to have this sentencing delayed. If he had won a delay, then essentially this case would have bitten the dust, knocked beyond his term in office, and who knows what would have happened to it 4 years hence. But Donald Trump, that's the headline this morning in a New York courtroom, an unconditional discharge handed down by the judge Juan Marchand. Donald Trump formally can be classified now as a convicted felon.
Come on in. Now, Morgan, you were in the, and thanks for racing down so quickly. I know it's been crazy inside. Yeah. So you were inside the courtroom. He was not here physically. He was here virtually. So you guys were watching him on a monitor. But do me a favor. Talk to me about his demeanor, because I know at one point you said he was really leaning in, listening intently.
Exactly. Now, he walked inside, the judge walked inside, and when he sat down on the bench, that's when we saw President-elect Donald Trump sitting in a window screen on both monitors at the front of the courtroom and then in front of the benches of both lawyers. Now, the judge kicked off remarks, welcoming everybody. Then prosecutors took their turn, and they outlined just the intensity of this case. And they also said that, they must be mindful that Trump is going to be sworn in as president, but they say that his actions before, during, and after the trial really eroded the trust in the justice system. And they said that if there was any other defendant, they might be asking for a little bit of a harsher sentence. But they say because he is set to take office, that they understand that the only sentencing that makes sense is unconditional discharge. Then the judge gave Todd Blanche, Trump's lawyer, a chance to speak. And Blanche really said that this case is very inappropriate. He said it was only brought forward once Trump made it clear that he was planning to run for president. And he said the only sentence that would make sense is unconditional discharge, although they disagree that any sentencing would be making sense. And they also confirmed that they will be appealing this.
Apesar da condenação, o juiz João Merchão concedeu-lhe uma libertação incondicional, isentando de pena de prisão, multa ou liberdade condicional. Trump, que assumirá a presidência em 20 de janeiro, torna-se assim o primeiro presidente norte-americano a iniciar o mandato com uma condenação criminal. Durante a audiência, realizada por videoconferência, Trump declarou-se inocente e classificou o julgamento como uma caça às bruxas política, afirmando que recorrerá da decisão. A sentença histórica levanta debates sobre suas implicações na política e na justiça dos Estados Unidos, especialmente considerando que Trump enfrentará outros desafios legais relacionados à subversão eleitoral e aos distúrbios de 6 de janeiro. Deixe seu like, inscreva-se para nos ajudar a continuar trazendo cada vez mais notícias do mundo e do Brasil. Obrigado!